So today's video is business in the metaverse, which is new for you. It's not for me. This is the second time I'm doing it because I'm an idiot who deletes his footage accidentally. So the metaverse has blasted onto our screens either via VR headset for your PC or alternative reality for your mobile phone. For the most part in its current state, the metaverse is really just a place you can hang out with your friends and just chill out in a digital experience. But what if the metaverse was so much more? What if, rather than just going online to chat to your friends and family, you could also use this virtual experience for your business? Part 1. Meetings. This is probably the first place that everyone's minds went to the second I brought up the idea of using the metaverse in a business sense, as we all sat through those awkward Zoom meetings throughout the pandemic and oftentimes forgetting to turn on our mic and just screaming randomly at our co-workers hoping that they could hear us and blaming our internet connections only to realise that little symbol in the corner said your mic was in fact muted. Now picture this. You've slapped the snooze button on your alarm clock grand total of 15 or 20 times, only to realise you now only have about 15 minutes to get to that important meeting with a client that you've been talking with for about 6 months. This is make or break. You rush out of bed and run immediately to your cupboard and grab the suit that you now just realised that you forgot to iron the night before. Then, however, you stop and you think and you remember. Calmly you put the now very jumbled suit back in the cupboard and realise you'll probably deal with that later. In other words, you'll leave it for another month or so before when you actually need it. You casually go over to your computer and you push the on button. Picking up your VR headset, you put it on your bonce to hear the laughs of your co-workers. Now the trip from work to the boardroom lasted less than 7 minutes. As the client beams in to the boardroom like they've come out of Star Trek, you open up the presentation you've prepared for them. In its glorious 3D format, it's like being part of Stark Industries as you flick designs from one corner of the room to the other, rotating them so that the client can get an even better view of the work you've spent the last 2 or 3 weeks on just for this very moment. And you get the deal. Your product goes off and you're in business. All of this happened in under 45 minutes, and it was like you was there in the real world. But in fact, you was there in a digital space. Not only this, imagine how amazing it would be to just go wild. You could run any presentation, any simulation for your client. If you want to start a safari business, you can switch the boardroom meeting to the middle of the savannah. The possibilities are endless, obviously keeping that professional demeanour. Part 2. Advertising. The original Blade Runner and its sequel Blade Runner 2049 have walking, talking, holographic billboards and adverts. They don't feature the regular dystopian style of the rundown lights and signs that you see as these poorly generated pixels flicker on a screen. And yes, I know Blade Runner is a dystopian look at the future, but we can still take on its marketing techniques, and we don't need to wait 30 years for a technological boon. We can have that technology right now. Imagine you've entered this virtual world and you see a group of people having a bit of R&R in the virtual pool that they've just beamed into from their workspace, and in 15 minutes they'll beam back to that workspace perfectly dry and back in their work clothes. Imagine in this world AIs walk around selling products to be used in the metaverse and also selling products to be used in the real world. Now, what if you were looking for a new client? Well, if you're looking for new clients, investors, business partners, whatever, networking events have been the norm for thousands of years. Obviously, LinkedIn has revolutionised that idea somewhat by allowing the networking event to just be one big online party of sorts. But what if you could immediately move to a networking event from your own bed, discuss and prepare big business ventures with brand new people? Now imagine, however, you wanted to properly advertise your stuff, so you created a virtual version of yourself to talk to customers, say hi, talk to new clients, talk to new investors. Now you have the best advertisement for your business and for your brand, yourself. Of course, these virtual streets, towns, cities, countries, however large the metaverse becomes, can all be used for advertisement. You can advertise on lamps, on front doors of virtual holiday homes, on hands of the skins that people use whilst inside the metaverse. You can advertise inside virtual walkthrough advertisements. The possibilities for advertising inside the metaverse are quite literally endless. Part 3. Branding. Branding would take on an entirely new identity in the metaverse. Sure, you could use the same old systems like advertising and putting your brand on taxis, on houses, on planes, even virtual holographic billboards. But you could also put them on NPCs walking around, just an empty face with your logo on, or a random AI trying to sell your product to customers. As I just said, the possibilities are endless. How your brand looks in the metaverse will entirely come down to how you use the metaverse. You may just use it as an advertising tool and have your brand on virtual holiday homes and even on the people in the metaverse. Or you may choose to move your business into the metaverse full-time and just work in selling things like NFTs virtually, or maybe part-time and have meetings and organize your business in the metaverse whilst also doing most of your dealings in the real world. The real question is, how would your brand specifically look in the metaverse? Well, an easy way to express that brand and express your business is through visual storytelling, and if you're stuck on that, that's definitely something we can help with, and be sure to check the links down below and see if we can help you out. Part 4. Virtual events. Strangely enough, virtual events have really recently been tried out in the children's video game Fortnite with a decent amount of success, albeit these are mainly virtual concerts with stars such as Ariana Grande headlining. Now, of course, music isn't afraid of a virtual event, with bands and other types of artists, most notably the Gorillaz, using holographic imagery to create a sort of alternative reality experience whilst you go to watch their concerts. However, in Metaverse, these concerts wouldn't seem holographic, they would seem real. You would really be able to meet the Gorillaz, who for everyone's childhood were just pixels on a screen or holograms on a stage. Now imagine, just for a second, an event like DOODLELEDO, but in the metaverse. Instead of getting the tube down to London to get one of our events, or maybe getting a bus through Glasgow city centre, now you can just hop onto your computer, put your VR headset on, and there you are, talking to 3D avatars of other people in the same position as you at a DOODLELEDO virtual metaverse event. As we said earlier, imagine the networking possibilities, imagine business meetings, imagine interviews, all happening in the space of 5 to 10 minutes. Now, you can still have those long form events, and I'm not saying that IRL events will ever go away. There's nothing better than speaking to a person face to face in the flesh, but it's definitely not easy to underestimate the sheer power that holding an event that is as close to real life as possible, whilst being as easy as possible to maintain, it's certainly got a lot of power. So yes, this really does give us a glimpse at what is to come in the world of business events, tech events. Any type of event you can imagine can be placed in a virtual space. Part 5. The virtual supermarket. Now, we all like seeing the products we're going to buy before we buy them. Imagine you want to buy a nice new bookshelf and see how it fits in your bedroom. Imagine you want to buy a nice new set of cupboards that you plan to put a TV on top of, and you can try it out in various rooms inside a virtual version of your house. Imagine you're sitting at home and you've run out of pens for an important sketch that you need to do for a client. Imagine you order said pens and a little drone launches into the air and is piloted by you, and you can literally control when your package gets to you. Now, I know this bit is pretty much more about talking about the convenience of the metaverse, but that's the best part, because convenience can apply to business. It's not just a personal thing. Like I say, you can jump straight from work. You can get out of your real world shower and then be at your desk, all in the space of 20 minutes. Part 6, final thoughts. So my final thoughts on the metaverse is that it is and always will be a spooky, scary place. It's uncharted territory, but it will mark how business is done in the coming decades, or it may fizzle out. Virtual reality has come in and fizzled out multiple times before, and it's only really just taken a hold. So who knows? Who even knows how payments will work in the metaverse? How, if it'll be like a subscription like PlayStation Plus, or will there be individual businesses running individual segments? Will there be territories? We don't know. It's early days, and this is just some rough ideas of what you can do in the metaverse as it stands now. So to all those who currently use it and will use it, good luck, and maybe I'll see you in there. Thanks for listening. Bye.